Welcome to another video on the Sorare Contender YouTube channel, talking about all things Contender divisions. Make sure you give me a follow on Twitter at Sorare Contender. In this week's video, going to have a quick look back at the first weekends of the new format, see how we got on, what kind of prizes we won. We'll take a look at the one lineup that I've currently got running midweek to see how that's performing. And then most importantly, look ahead to the weekends and build a few provisional lineups. Of course, provisional lineups these days change about 50 times before the deadline on Friday. So first up on the Sorare Data rewards page from the first game week, the first weekend of the new format, managed to come away with £44.73 in prizes, which is a good start. Also got one box and got a level up from that, which I think I'm just going to hold maybe until the end of the season or towards the start of next season. And I don't have too many cards at high levels. I think my highest are around level 13 or level 14. So I'd like to get some of those a bit higher. Then once I know exactly which players I'm going to keep for next season in the classic format, then I'll start using those level ups. So just a quick scan of how the first weekend went. Let me just jump down here. My only limited team, which is the Celtic Stack, performed well in Division 3, finished 19th overall and managed to get a promotion. The only failure here was Kyogo. Plenty of chances in the game. On another day, would have had a few decisives. Carter Vickers captain did the business. In this team, Iwata scored 79, but I fear for his place in the Celtic starting 11 now, with McGregor likely to come back very soon and Hatate now fit as well. So I'm going to jump over to the my cards on Sorare shortly just to show you which new signings I've made. And one of those is a new Celtic Limited card to take the place of Iwata in this lineup going forward. So Iwata is currently on the market and a new replacement has been signed. Getting into the rare divisions, in-season rare Division 1 finished 42nd, so this was my best performing team. In rare, came away with £39 of a prize pool. Clark in goal didn't get a clean sheet but scored 49, and then the rest of it was Celtic players. Captain Matt O'Reilly did the business, and for once Celtic managed to keep a clean sheet. So I did end up going for the double Celtic defensive stack in Taylor and Carter Vickers. And again, Kyogo the only letdown here. In hindsight, I should have just played my best forward in my best lineup, which is probably Shankland. But given it was the first weekend of action, I wanted to back the Celtic lads. But going forward, I'm going to play with my head more than my heart, which we'll see when it comes to building lineups for this weekend, because Celtic have a very tricky fixture against Rangers and they're probably not going to be in my best lineups. Scrolling down here a little bit further, Division 4 of in-season finished 54th, which was enough, I think, for a promotion. So I was in Division 1, 2 and 4 of in-season. Now at the weekend I will be in Division 1, 2 and 3, maybe even, no, it's in the Classic section. I might have two teams in Division 1 in the Classic section because the midweek lineup is doing well, which I will show you soon. So not much to talk about here. Hatate and Iwata did okay. Vargas scored for Hearts, which was good, but big ass captain let the side down. Choi did okay in goal. Next team, a team that did very well apart from the goalkeeper, which was frustrating. The Sanfrecce guys both scored well. Nicholas Kuhn with a 77.9 and Shankland with the assist for a 75. I'm pretty sure Salinger, my goalkeeper, was the last player to play for this lineup and scored just 25 points, losing 3-0 at home. So if I had a decent goalkeeper here, we would have been looking at a good score. So that was my Division 1 Classic team. So at least I did well enough to stay in Division 1. This then is in-season Division 2. Lewis Holtby on the score sheet as captain. That was nice. Bruno Petkovic on the score sheet as well. But the others didn't do much. Andrade didn't get his usual high scores. Mitov had a poor game. And Moritz Kjargaard didn't do much either. Next team, Classic. season rare Division 4. So this team did not perform well. This was called, I'm pretty sure, Leftovers FC. So I wasn't expecting much from them anyway. Couldn't get relegated. David Marshall, who I brought in just before the game week deadline, I think I spent about 25 quid for him. He did well, saved the penalty, but still conceded 3 goals in a difficult fixture. Findlay with 52, and elsewhere, Graham Carey was on the bench for St Johnstone, so again, not going to be planning to use him much in the near future. Lennon Miller was on the bench as well, and Lafondra had a difficult fixture. So again, was never expecting much from that one. Then we had classic rare Division 2 team. Good to see Placidi back from injury, scoring well. I'm going to use him this weekend in one of my better lineups. Frankie Kent also made a return from injury. Armstrong, 58, pretty steady. Armstrong has a very good matchup this coming weekend, so could well be in my top team when we come to building lineups. Ki Sung Young, he's been performing well. He's performing well for me midweek also, but got a DNP here with the Sanfrecce striker. He also didn't play midweek either, so I've gone into the market and bought myself another forward from the K-League actually, which we'll get to very soon. And finally, I did end up putting in a cap 240 lineup. I wasn't planning to do so. Went for the middle targets of 340, but got nowhere near it because banked on Aberdeen in a good fixture against Ross County. They did get the win, but they didn't get the clean sheet. So Kellerus and Gartenman didn't score much. Captain Spittle didn't do much either at home to St Mirren. Miovski on the score sheet, but again, I was going to focus just on the divisions, but I do like the idea of having one cap 240 team each week just to try and go for that middle target, because even if I can get that once before the end of the season, 70 or 80 quid or whatever it is, to me that buys me a very good player for next season. So I think I will be entering another cap 240 team this weekend. Elsewhere, I think that's it for last weekend. So let's just have a quick look at, there's just one team in action midweek. The K-League and the J-League was in action over the last couple of days. So what I did was, with this team, instead of putting it in Classic Division 1 and risking relegation for the weekend, I put it into Classic Division 2 in the hope of having 2 teams in Classic Division 1 this weekend. And it's looking good for promotion. I've still got one more player to play, but Ki Sung Young got an assist, 87 points. Sho Sasaki is captain with 95, Shiatani 49.5, and Choi did okay as well in goal. Frustrating not to get the clean sheet in a 5-1 victory. And I've also got Gribic to come on Thursday night. Now, I want to share a very frustrating story with you before I move on to the weekend's lineup building. Gribic, basically I had Soteriou as a DNP at the weekend, and I didn't want to use him midweek, so I needed a new forward for this lineup. And I was looking at either a K-League or a J-League forward because they fit the gallery. Because when I get to summertime, I'm going to need an Asian forward to go along with this lineup. I mean, I could go into Norway or somewhere to find one as well, but I wanted to keep it possibly K-League or J-League. So if I jump over here and show you a player I was trying to buy for midweek, Stanislav Iljachenko, put in a few offers for him Monday and Tuesday. Nothing was accepted, and I ended up getting Gribic instead. But of course, what did he go and do today? 100 points. So very frustrating. Could have been in this lineup, and we would have been looking at some decent prizes if he had have been there. So a nearly story. So the pressure is now on Gribic on Thursday night to turn up, play, deliver, and secure promotion. I think even if he just plays, we should be okay. And depending on how he performs, we're looking at 1, possibly 2 boxes coming out of that lineup as well. But most importantly, hopefully promoted, and 2 teams then in Classic Division 1 for the weekend. So let me jump back to Sorare now. I'm just going to show you quickly some of the cards that I've picked up since the last video, and then we'll build some lineups. So these are my newest signings. So missed out on buying Iljachenko at the start of the week. As soon as he got the 100 pointer today, I went into the market and I picked him up, I think, for £22.50 roughly. Yeah, a lot of people were buying him today around the same price. So again, good for the rest of this season. And he also is a good fit for the gallery for the summertime because I was lacking that forward. So I've now got three players from FC Seoul and three players from Sanfrecce, but Soteriu is currently out of action. Couldn't find any information as to why. Also, I mentioned earlier, I'm worried about Iwata in terms of a starting place now, so I've picked up a limited Rio Hatate, who I expect to play against Rangers this weekend. So Hatate will now be part of that limited Celtic stack. Ross Laidlaw, this is my second Ross Laidlaw. I've already got one in the gallery, which I paid a lot of money for back 4 or 5 months ago when I was using them in Cap 240. I picked them up for £6, which I think is just a crazy price for a goalkeeper that could end up being a number one pick in the Scottish Premiership again next season, or maybe even elsewhere. So Ross County currently have a goalkeeper on loan, Wickens, who's performing very well. But if he goes back to, I think it's Fulham, Ross Laidlaw could easily be number one again next season. So I think £6, just a little bit of an investment. And if he does become a regular starter next season, I'll have two of them that I can use, or I can just sell one and hopefully recoup some profit. Gribbage came in for £8.95. He will be in action on Thursday night. Stephen Wells came in to complete my collection in terms of having 5 players from Celtic from the 22-23 season. That's with a view to getting my Callum McGregor up to 2% collection bonus next season. Further down the list here, Stuart Findlay came in for around £5 last week. I was a little bit short of defenders. He's got a good matchup this weekend as well, so could end up in one of my better lineups. Always plays, but a goal threat as well. David Marshall joined the gallery for, what was it, £26 roughly. Again, cheap price for a goalkeeper. We'll see what happens with him next season. I've got him on the market. If someone wants to pay, 50, 60 quid for him, I don't mind taking a bit of profit there and going elsewhere. Brought in Aberdeen's Rubizic as well, who's got a long-term injury at the moment, but could be a pretty useful asset come next season. Young player as well, so could have him for a while. Braithwaite, I've been trying to get a Braithwaite for a month or two, performing very well in the Spanish second division. Picked up an injury, and I always think when a player picks up an injury, that's a good time to go and buy them, especially if it's not a long-term one, because you can get them for a decent price. So paid 27 quid for Braithwaite and very likely to use him in an in-season lineup this weekend. Elsewhere, Big Ass was already in last week. Picked up Lekka James, who I remember fondly from my days playing Elite Syrian Fantasy around probably around 2018, 2019. Lekka James played very well, scored a lot of goals in Norway, and it looks like he might go back to Molde. So picked him up for a very cheap price. What was it? About £8, I think it was. Yeah, £8.36. So if he goes back to Norway, he could be a very useful player. And again, could be useful for me during the summer, along with those K-League and J-League players. Jack Milne came in from Aberdeen as a collection piece. I think that has me up to date on players in terms of what I've brought in since the last video. If I just show you which players I've got on the market, give you the reasons why. So currently have 10 players for sale. Iwata the limited for the reasons mentioned. Again, I paid 22 quid for the FC Seoul striker off the back of his 100 pointer. We'll probably keep him long term, but if someone wants to, pay a price I don't expect them to go for, I think every player has a price. And that's what I try and think of with the gallery. Even if I've got players that I want to use in lineups, if I can, double my money on what I paid for them in certain scenarios, I'm quite happy to take that money and then make an upgrade with those funds. So the same goes for David Marshall. Lennon Miller's the same. I think I paid about 25 quid for Lennon Miller. I've got him listed for about 40. Don't expect these guys to sell, but sometimes you get surprises and you wake up in the morning and maybe someone's been up having a few too many beers and they spend a wee bit too much for cards. You never know. Sometimes you get sales that you don't expect. Duke at Aberdeen as well doesn't get games these days, so paid about 7 quid. If I can double my money there, I'll be happy. Don't mind keeping him long term either. I didn't put Kjaergaard into a training lineup for midweek because just wanted to feel out the market to see if anyone is interested in buying one. I've got him, listed as the cheapest on the market for in season at £163. Don't expect to get anywhere near that, but most recent sale, someone did an instant buy for £163. Now, I only paid £54 in auction 18 days ago. So Kjaergaard's one of those. I'm quite happy to use him in a lineup this weekend. But if he sells for, 140, 150 quid, I will take that, £100 profit, short term profit, and reinvest it into the squad. Danilo at Rangers is injured, paid about 12 quid for him, listed for 29. We'll see what happens there. Happy to sell, happy to keep long term. So Soteriu's my DNP striker at the moment. Probably look to get rid of him. Jan Danda, I paid I think £4 for him. Again, he won't sell for 19, but I'll see if there's any interest. And I've listed Blair Spittle this week as well. I've had him for a long time. He's my best performing card, but I'm pretty well stocked for midfielder. So if someone wants to come and snap him up, I don't think I've listed him for the cheapest price on the market because he's level 12 and some of the others are, half that level. So I think there's a few cards listed for about 55, 56 quid. I put him up for 67. We'll see what happens over the next couple of days. I think I paid about 57 quid for him. Yeah, 5 months ago I paid 57 quid. So if I could get 60, 65 quid back for a midfielder that I can do without, and then maybe invest that into a defensive pick, another goalkeeper, or maybe another forward. So that is the players listed on the market at the moment. Let's now very quickly build a couple of provisional teams for the weekend. We'll head over to Sorare Data as always. We will ignore the limited team because we know what that's going to look like. Let me go to, so hard to find these in the drop down box, contenders in season rare. Let's start there and let's see what the pick scores are telling us. I'm not going to build 6 or 7 teams here. We'll build 2 or 3 to see what the best teams are going to look like, and then I will share the confirmed teams around the deadline on Friday on Twitter at Sorare Contender. David Marshall at Hibs, home fixture this week against St Johnstone, so I like that. Good chance Marshall could be in my top lineup. Zander Clark has an AA pick score here, which I don't really agree with because Hearts are away to St Mirren, which is not the easiest fixture, so I don't think Zander Clark will be in my top lineup this week. Placide is at home. Bastia, who are in 15th, play the team Dunkirk, who are 14th, so I don't mind using him either. Kelarus, good fixture, but it is away to Livingston. But again, that is a good fixture, as good as it gets in terms of opposition in the Scottish Premiership. And Salinger this week, again, is away to Klagenfurt. So Salinger is not yet forgiven for his poor performance last week. So a very quick first lineup for Division 1 of in season will probably look something like David Marshall. I think, having had a quick look at this earlier, I think Sho Sasaki will go in as my one classic card into this lineup. Celtic play Rangers away, which, I'm confident that Celtic can get a victory there, but it is, the trickiest fixture of the season. And again, I'm going to play with my head rather than my heart this week, and I'm probably going to have my Celtic cards in Division 2 most likely. So I'm going to, again, follow what, Sorare Data suggests in terms of pick scores and stuff like that as well, and just play the better picks with the better fixtures rather than playing Celtic players who are away to Rangers. So Sho Sasaki, I think, will go in here to the top lineup. Midfielders, we've got Matt O'Reilly as an option, but again, I'll probably put him into my second priority lineup. Kjaergaard, again, if he doesn't sell on the markets, I like him. Salzburg at home to Rapid Wien. Spittle, if he doesn't sell, again, good option away to Dundee. Ki Sung Young is playing Daegu, so again, Key's been performing very well for me, but again, I can't use him in this lineup because he is a classic card. Lewis Holtby's an option away to 10th place in the league. Danny Armstrong, I like a lot this week because Kilmarnock are at home to Ross County. Let's, if Kjaergaard sells, if Spittle sells, even if they don't sell, there's a good chance Danny Armstrong will be in my top lineup this week. He's one of my favourite Sorare cards, and he's done very well for me, and I really like the matchup. He's got a lot of routes to points, so Armstrong is a strong card to have this week. Up front, I can't use Shanklin because he's a classic card unless I drop Sho Sasaki, but I'm keen to keep him in there because I don't want a Celtic defender in this lineup. Petkovic is an option. Petkovic is currently in action on Wednesday night in a cup game, so hopefully he comes through that one okay. So Petkovic is at home to Istra. That's a good fixture. Branthwaite has a good fixture. Espanyol are playing Albacete, who are 19th in the league. Miovski, good fixture against Livingston. Kyogo, again, probably going to go in with the other Celtic cards in a priority 2 lineup. So again, lots of good options here. Maybe Gribic will be, vying for inclusion in a good team if he performs well on Thursday night. But here, I think it's between Petkovic, Miovski, and Braithwaite, as they are all in-season cards. And it's the Livingston factor here. Yeah, I mean, Petkovic will probably be the player I go with, but I do really like Miovski as well at Livingston. But I'll probably go for the home fixture with Petkovic as long as he doesn't pick up any injuries during the week. And finally then, let me put the filter to in-season only to see what options are here to finish out this lineup. So, like I said, Matt O'Reilly, probably not going to use him here. Kjaergaard will go into this lineup, I'm pretty sure, if he is still in the gallery come Friday morning or early Friday afternoon. Holtby's an option as well. Going down the list, Miovski could go in here also. But yeah, I think Kjaergaard will go in if he is still in the club. So what I'll do is I'll just build one more lineup, and what we'll do is we'll do a classic Division 1. So obviously I won't know exactly which cards are left over until I build all of the in-season lineups, but just to give you a rough idea, I think most of my Celtic cards will go into my Division 2 in-season, so that's Carter Vickers, Taylor, Matt O'Reilly, maybe Kyogo as the classic card, and just hope Celtic perform well and beat Rangers and they all score well Sorare wise. So let's ignore the Celtic boys for now and let's build a classic Division 1 lineup. So start with the goalkeeper, of course, and I'll try and use as many classic cards here because most of the others will probably go into in-season lineups. So I need to change the filter to all season. Let me actually change it to classic and we'll start with those. And of course, we can put some in-season cards in here, but for the purpose of the video, let's just focus on classic. Why is that not working? Let me just try and do this again. I didn't press apply probably. There we go. So now we have classic goalkeepers only. So Kellerus, like I said, very good fixture away to Livingston. We'll put him into this lineup. Defender, Sasaki will be already used. Chances are Shiatani in particular and the Celtic boys will probably already be used in in-season lineups. So someone like Andrade will probably be left over for classic. Ki Sung Young, I think, again, Nicholas Kuhn, if I don't put him in with the other Celtic boys, it'll probably be a decision between Kyogo or Nicholas Kuhn as a classic card for an in-season lineup. But let's just say he's already used somewhere else. I think Ki Sung Young will go into a classic lineup here. The forwards, if Shankland is not used in an in-season lineup, he is obviously my best classic forwards. Let me see, is there anyone I'm forgetting about here? Yeah, so let's put in Shankland, and to finish out the lineup, who else have good fixtures this week? Again, I'm just focused on classic cards just for the purpose of this video. Let's just fill out the lineup with Nicholas Kuhn. Let's say he's not in with the other Celtic boys. He's performing well recently, and I've got high hopes for Nicholas Kuhn to do well against Rangers because the left back position in the Rangers team is probably one of their weakest areas in the squad. So I think Nicholas Kuhn could have some joy in that matchup. So there is two very quick lineups just to give you an idea of some of my teams are going to look like this weekend. I think I have covered everything I wanted to in this video. So as always, make sure you hit like and subscribe on the way out. I always welcome comments on the video as well. Anything you liked or didn't like, or any suggestions you have for future videos. Any comments you have on specific players, what I should be doing, who should be my captains this week. Anything goes. Always read the comments, so make sure you stick a few in and I will get back to you. and be sure to follow Sorare Contender on Twitter. Thank you for tuning in, folks, and best of luck for the game week.